prioritizing. That is a difficult thing to do with family, wife, friends, kids, the necessity for sleep, church, exercise, all of these things that I have in life to do, full time job, even. There's just so many things that I need to balance out, that all of us need to balance out. How do I work in my writing? How do I prioritize that and organize my time? Well, in this episode, that's what I'm going to cover: how I organize my time and my life so that I have the time to write my book, pursue what I love, while not sacrificing everything else in my life. Hi everybody, my name is Alex Shagir and I'm an epic fantasy writer. Thank you all for watching this video, and if you've watched my stuff before and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like this video. It definitely helps. It is much appreciated. So prioritizing time. Let's go back to the things that I mentioned at the beginning. Family, friends, exercise, whatever you have going on in life that's important to you, that is a necessity. I want to start off by saying that I believe that those are things that you do not need to sacrifice, at least wholly, in order to pursue your goal or dream, mine becoming a writer. I believe that very much. Before I get into the heart of the issue, which is what comes down to that, I want to just talk generally first about what I mean by kind of prioritizing to an extremist extent. Let's say there's a Saturday that comes along and you have a totally free Saturday. I don't have many of those. Every once in a while I will, very surprisingly. And maybe you do too. Let's say, taking away sleep or whatever, you got like 14 hours or whatever it is to for the day, and you have kids, you have wife. Does that mean that you should be spending 14 hours a day with your kids, just wholly invested in them? I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but kids also like to play on their own, and they have their own things that they need to develop on their own. And there's also time for you to be able to do things, to pursue your hobbies and everything. So there's definitely a balancing figure here. Just because you're at home with your kids doesn't mean you spend 100% of your time with the kids. Same where, say if you're involved with exercising, okay, and you have a free Saturday. Does that mean or maybe you force yourself every single Saturday to go out all day, and maybe you're an ultra marathon runner and run trail every single Saturday? Well, that means that you're sacrificing time with your kids. And so I guess that before getting into the heart of the issue, I recognize that it's hard to balance things in life. And one thing for me is I suffer from dad guilt a lot, where I know that I love spending time with my kids, and I just feel like I need to give them as much time as possible. And that's kind of hurt me in a sense, where there are days where I feel like I've probably overexerted myself, and as a result, maybe haven't been the best dad in those times. And because I sacrifice doing some things that I like to do, or spending time with my wife, or other priorities in life. So at the outset, I just want to say it is difficult to balance time. It's difficult to balance life. So this is not going to be a clear-cut and dry way to fix everything about prioritizing and organizing how you do things in life. So let's get that out of the way. The heart of the issue for me is wasteful activities. And maybe there's a dozen different heart of the issues to this. I'm sure you could pick up any number of books and find a way, and see what's really going on here. We're prioritizing. For me, what I found is wasteful activities, and I am very guilty of this. Scrolling through YouTube, I also find interest in a lot of things. So if I have an idea, I might look up something on Google and then spend a half hour researching the topic more, trying to get to understand it. And while that stuff is fun, man, I've wasted so much time doing those things. That's not to say that none of us should have a fun outlet. That is definitely not what I'm saying. We all need a fun outlet. Mine, I would say, is probably reading fantasy books, of course. And then also, for some reason, I've just gotten into F1, so I watch that. That's pretty nice because it's only a couple hours on Sunday. And it's very easy to kind of keep up with what's going on. So that. But another thing that's really exciting is if you find a serious hobby or that thing you want to pursue that kind of gives you that fun aspect as well. So like for me, I enjoy writing, and even though that can be sometimes it can get on the work side if I'm having a struggling writing day with knowing exactly what I want to write and how I want to, format or phrase something in my book that I'm writing on. So that can be challenging too, but like running's a great one where sometimes it's a challenge to get out running for sure, but then when I'm done, I feel rejuvenated, I feel great, any type of exercising. So it's great when you have a hobby, something that you do that you're serious with, but then you also find great joy out of. But I do recognize we all have those moments where we just need to shut off our brain and just do what we like. But I do think though a lot of it comes down to wasteful activities. How much fun time or free time does your brain need in a day? I know that for me, I've spent it's before kids mostly, but even sometimes I've been guilty of it with kids. Some days I'd wake up on a Saturday. I wake up early. I might wake up at 4 and just think, you know what? I just need a break this Saturday. I've had a long week, and I'd sit down and play a video game for 3 hours before the kids woke up, before my wife woke up, and I thought, okay, whew, got my break in for the day. But was that really the break that I needed? A 3 hour gaming session? I don't think so. That's why I've steered away from games because I realized that I can't just sit down and play a game for 15 minutes and call it good. No, I got to keep going and going and going and going. So it's again a fine balance on what you can take in life that's relaxing, that you don't push too hard in it and sacrifice time where you could be doing other things. So for example, that Saturday session, I wake up, you know what, I'm going to play my 3 hour video game this morning. And then I'm going to write later in the day, maybe when the kids are kind of down or something, I'll be able to write. But what I found is I wouldn't get to my writing during the day. And that's where the prioritization comes in. So prioritizing, to me, I guess that's kind of what this episode is about, right? Prioritizing. How do I prioritize? Well, at some point I'll probably have an episode on my daily schedule or weekly schedule and actually like hour by hour how I go through things. I'm very much an organizer of my time. But just generally speaking, prioritizing, I get up early so that I can do those important things in the morning and get them done. If I get to the end of the day and I know that I haven't written in my book, I get very frustrated with myself. Same thing with my family. So if it's a Saturday, or no, let's say it is a weekday, and I don't really have to work late too often, hardly at all, if ever. But let's say it's just a really busy day at work. And let's say like that morning, I overslept my alarm. I didn't write, and I get home. And so I'm trying to write while the kids are up. It just everything collapses there. I haven't been a good dad that day because I haven't given my kids undivided attention. Probably haven't been a good husband. Haven't been a good writer, that's for sure. So it's very important right from the get-go, waking up in the morning. What are those things that you do to prioritize your time? Is it if you exercise, don't put that off until the evening time. You might not want to. Especially, I'm kind of relating my mind to people with kids because if you do, you know how exhausting it is. But even if not, maybe at the end of the day, you're just burnt out anyway still. Or maybe it's the morning where you're not yourself and it's at nighttime that you have to do it. When you get home from work, immediately go into doing that exercise routine or do your writing or do whatever hobby it is that you love. The things that you think are important, spending time with your kids, spending time with your wife before it gets super late and then you do get tired and have to go to bed. So for me, prioritizing, the thing that's helped the most is looking at the wasteful activities that you might think maybe are good to kind of relax you, but maybe you're just spending too much time relaxing, if that makes sense. I was just this month I've been trying to stay off of YouTube, and I just realized how much of a habit it was just me going immediately to the app to look at like latest podcasts or videos that I would like just to give my mind a little break, and it just took up so much of my time. So that's something I'm really trying to work on, is being purposeful with your free time. That's immensely important. I guess I could probably phrase it like that. Being purposeful with your free time. I wasn't purposeful when I would have a 3-hour gaming session because I would just sit there and play and play and play and play until I had to stop playing. Whereas if I knew, okay, I have an hour of time here, after 45 minutes, I'm going to start cutting it off and then I'll be done. And again, I have a hard time doing video games, which is why I don't play them anymore because I got just a rough area for me. But same thing could be for maybe sports. Say it's a Saturday, it's NBA playoff season. You have games all day long. Are you going to sit there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and watch NBA until 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night? That's a whole day. And again, maybe that's fine for you. Maybe that's fine. But if you feel like though, oh man, I should have been doing this. If you know that there's other things in life that you want to get to or be able to prioritize, that's definitely a way where you can cut out. That I found, at least in my life, those activities that stack up that just end up being wasteful in the end. So that's how I look at prioritizing and balancing my time. Is I don't think that anyone should have to sacrifice the important things in their life. I shouldn't have to be a good writer because I sacrifice time with my kids. Maybe a slight amount, like on a Saturday. Say if I want to work on my map for an hour or two that day, so I can get it ready for my book. I can still play with my kids that Saturday, have them watch a movie beside me while I'm doing that. I'm not talking about things like that. Obviously, you can still do things while your kids are awake. You don't have to spend every waking second with your kids. But when you look at those wasteful activities, hey, did you play video games for 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon when your kids were just hanging around? Or did you watch sports all day long when you could have played outside with your kid? I relate to the kids a lot again because I experienced dad guilt. You might have different guilt in your life, but that's how I look at it. What are those wasteful activities in your life that you can cut out so the things that you need to and can prioritize are prioritized? I don't think you should have to sacrifice the important things in your life to pursue what you like to do. So that's how I come at it. That's my perspective at it. I hope this episode was helpful to you. This was less of a writing episode and more of a prioritizing kind of life episode. But I think that was very helpful for you to understand kind of where I come at with prioritizing my life and my time. I try not to come home, sink away into my office area up here in our den, and just shut out the outside world. I like to get up early, focus on this stuff so that when the day comes, I've already done what I want to with my writing. Then I can focus on my work. I can focus on my kids, my wife, my exercising, all those other things. So prioritize. And I need to work on this a lot too. I need to cut out the wasteful activities in my life. Thank you for watching. Long episode. So thank you for watching. I hope this episode was helpful for you. Definitely helpful for me to talk about this stuff. Appreciate you watching. Please like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, really appreciate all the time that you spent watching my videos and the support that you've given to me. So thank you, and I will see you next time.